Okay, NXT. Now, I'm only going to do the show right now. I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can because I want to talk about all the call-ups that have gone to Raw, SmackDown, and free agency. Now remember, free agency means that you don't stick on any show. They just call you when they need you. You got no home. You're just sitting there doing nothing in catering until they decide, well, you can go to SmackDown, you can go to Raw whenever we need you. First, the North American title was defended by, you know it, you love it, you know Wesley versus Drew Gulak. If I'm pronouncing his name right, I always mess up Drew's name. But he had Charlie Dempsey by his side along with a Tyler Bates for a little bit of, well, tell me, the match was fine. But didn't it look like Tyler Bates wants a little bit of that action of the North American title? That's what I think is going to happen here. Because in the end, West did win. I'm not surprised. He wasn't going to lose. But now you may have a challenger for him, which is his friend. Which hopefully will mean something in the end. Let's move on. Gigi Golan versus a... Let me give it to you like this. This should have happened at Battleground. I'm being honest here. And I understand the reason why they did this. I understand 100% why HBK has done all this. Because when JC James dealing with Miles, and that is Gigi's sister, they just wanted to end the feud as quickly as possible or add something for later. So they had their match. JC bled. I don't know when she bled, either when she hit the ring or when she hit the steps. I don't know which one. But she bled and she won. The question is, are they going to continue the feud, and will there be any type of special outset? Don't know yet. Now, Scripps versus Axonon made no sense, but I do understand the reason why they've done this. And now you're going to say, wait a minute, what do you mean it doesn't make any sense? Simply, they shouldn't have had the match now. For a mass-to-mass match, because that's what that was. In the end, we know, someone did say, I thought it was ACH, it was Reggie, fine. I didn't know who it was, and I wasn't trying to figure out who it was. I didn't want to know who it was. I thought it looked like ACH. He looked like about the right size for ACH. He has the similar style to ACH, but it's Reggie. But Reggie lost his match. I'm getting angry here. It's the reason why I botch. There are two reasons. One, I botch, and two, I get pissed off and then I botch. Here I'm kind of pissed off for most of what's going on in this show because of what happened in the draft. But they just did this with Scripps and Axon. It's over. Reggie's been revealed, so who knows what they're going to do with him now. Next, Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough, his last match on NXT. He is going to Raw. And normally, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. Whoever's leaving a show to go to another show usually jobs here. But in this situation, he did not. Due to the fact of Nolan Dar and his Heritage Cup wanting so bad to have Dragon Lee be screwed over, he helped out JD, who won and got a win before he left, which is extremely rare. And I got a lot to say about JD. I do. JD McDonough, I got something to say. And I'll say that when I'm done here. But he did win. And then we have No Man Dar and Dragon Lee fighting each other up the ramp, going into the back. Next, Joe Gacy versus Joe Coffey. If Joe Gacy won, Dyad gets their shot. But if Joe Gacy lost, Dyad can never challenge for the NXT Tag Championships as long as Gallus had them. They can never try again. Ever. Due to the fact that Alva, she got them to win. So now Dyad gets their shot against Gallus. Fine, no problem. But now supposedly, Alvy Niles couldn't stand seeing again Rain interfering, so now she wants to do something about it. So this is going to be interesting to see if Alva Rain can wrestle, because she had a bad injury. That's the reason why she hadn't been seen for a while. Has she recovered enough that she can actually wrestle? It's going to be a question. Has she practiced enough? Has she gotten a leg in good shape? Hopefully we'll find out. Okay, what else do we have here? We had the debuting Dana, or no, Dana, oh, is it Dinah? Dinah Palmer versus Paxton, who messed with Ivy Nile before. Now, how do I feel about Palmer? I'm going to tell you this. Whew. You guys know how I feel about Soruka. She's got something, but she does way too much gymnastics over pro wrestling. She's a gymnastics expert. She's a pro wrestler. The only thing she needs to do is dial it back and amp up just a little bit. It's like this, and she just need to come a little bit. She didn't need a lot. You look at Palmer, that's exactly what I've been saying for Soruka. Soruka, she can do exactly the same thing as Palmer. The only problem is she does more of what Palmer was doing in reverse. Palmer during the match did a lot more wrestling, a lot more holds, a lot more... I'll give it like this. She didn't do a lot of chain wrestling, but she did do a good amount of holds. Whenever she did any gymnastics, it led to a hold. Not from one impact to another like most high-flying wrestlers. She at least understands the fundamentals that if you're going to do some type of aerial, it should lead to a hold or a pin. She did a lot more holds than she did mostly pins. So Ruka does a lot of aerial that can lead to pins, but you need holds to make it mean something, and she still doesn't get it yet. So when it comes to Palmer, she's here, and when it comes to Soruka, she's here. Now, supposedly they're friends, but the question is which one is going to get somewhere first. And so far, just this one match, you can see that Palmer has the good understanding that you must have good fundamentals first. When you have some good fundamentals of what you used to do, you need to put this first before this. You need to balance it. If you have good gymnastic abilities, you need to have at least a little bit more of wrestling, or the gymnastic doesn't mean anything, as flashy as she is. And I like her, but get my point. The final match, and that was for the NXT Women's title, and that is Chance and Carter versus Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. Now, I wasn't sure who was going to win, but I wasn't really complaining because either way, it was a mess. You just had two sets of people for the first time from two brands going after the NXT title. It didn't really feel important to help NXT. It felt like it was more important to help Raw or SmackDown. That's how it felt. In the end, Dawn and Fire maintained their win, and now SmackDown gets the tag titles. The question is, how are they going to set this up to have Isla Dawn and Alba Fire come back and forth, work the main roster, also work NXT until they decide to drop the titles? This is what you get. This is what we got in this show. Now, of course, I can talk also about what we got for interviews with Jay McDonough, but it's not necessary. What I'm going to talk about now is the draft. And yes, Indy Hartwell will be mentioned in this draft. Now, this is my list of all the people that have now been drafted or been put to free agency. Now, let's do the women first. For the women that are going to Raw, we got Indy Hartwell, we got Zoe Stark, we got Chase, and we got Carter. They're going directly to Raw. SmackDown got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. This is what we got for the women. We got 6 women from the main roster. It was 5, now it's 6. Because when I did my Raw review, I only went by what they said for Friday and Monday. Nothing about the supplemental draft that happened I think they had one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and then they did this draft. So, this is what we got. So, that's 6 women that are now off the roster of NXT. And I will get to Indy Hartwell in a minute. Just give me a minute. Now, when it comes to the men, this is where it gets interesting. We got 16 men and women together. We got 12 men. No, 16. No, wait a minute. Was it 16 or 17? Oh, my mistake. It's 17, I believe. I could be wrong. Let's make sure. I got 6 women here. Now let's see about the men. We got Cameron Grimes. We got Von Wagner. He's in free agency. He can go to either show. Then you got Zalon Quinn. He's in free agency. That makes 3. We got Apollo Crews. He's gone back and now he's on Raw. Cameron Grimes on SmackDown. And this is what you got so far. JD McDonough is now going to Raw. So what do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 men so far. Now, Grayson Waller is going to SmackDown. That makes 5. We now have Odyssey Jones going to Raw. That makes 6. We now also have Jinder Mahal, Tyr and Sana from Elan Share. So that makes, 6, 7, 8, 9, I believe. 9. Then we got Pretty Deadly. 10, 11. And I believe I'm missing someone. Who am I missing? I might be missing someone. I believe I said Odyssey Jones. Who did I miss here? I'm missing somebody. Well, if I'm not, I'm sorry. I might be missing somebody. But it's either 16 or 17 people that have now been transferred to either free agency, Raw, or SmackDown. And when it comes to Indy Hartwell, unlike Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn, who are still able to wrestle and counting on when they come back and possibly drop those titles, we currently have her dropping her title. She's supposed to have a sprain in her ankle, a high-level sprain, and she made it very clear that before Battleground, there's going to be a tournament. Whoever wins the tournament will be at Battleground. That is where it's culminating. So for the next 4 weeks, we're going to have women in the tournament that will lead to Battleground, and that will lead to a new NXT champion. Now, that I've said all of this, how do I feel on what's happened with the draft? I'm going to tell you this, guys. I don't know about anybody else. I don't know what JD is going to say because I haven't checked him yet. I don't know about just Alex. I haven't checked him yet. But I'm going to tell you about my perspective. My humble perspective. We have no clue the way Vince is going to run Raw, SmackDown. We know that HBK is running NXT, and he just lost 16 to 17 people. Now, of course, he's got more people in the back, more people that he can draw from easily. There's no problem with that. But the problem is storyline. This is what Vince never cared about when Triple H ran it. Every time when Triple H built up his roster, Vince raped it. Took the people without talking to him and never gave him a chance to ramp down the ones who are going to be leaving. Look at how HBK was when they did SmackDown. He was pissed beyond recognition knowing that his tag champ is gone and Indy Hartwell, his world champ, is gone. Just gone. It wasn't that he was playing it up. It's due to the fact that every storyline that he had, he wasn't notified. That's the same thing that happened with Triple H. He wasn't told anything. So when we got Monday Night Raw, you literally got Chance and Carter, who are going to Raw, challenging for the damn titles. That makes no damn sense to actually have both tag teams that generally challenge for the title to literally go into two different brands at the same time. And now one of them is going to have to do double work and work there. Now, this is not New Day. Let's make this clear. New Day did this. New Day was still on the main roster of SmackDown, and they also went to NXT, and they won the titles, so they didn't really show it much on SmackDown, but they did double work. Here, you're talking about Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre, who's going to have to learn to work the SmackDown roster and how they do things there is different. As they always say, things are different on the main roster. They have to restart all over again, and having to work that and then having to go back to NXT until they drop the titles makes it harder. Indy Hartwell is going to Raw, which is a good chance that Vince is running Raw and Triple H is running SmackDown, supposedly. I still think he's running both. He's going to tell Triple H, run Raw for me. Or he's going to tell Triple H, run SmackDown for me. When he's not doing anything. As Vince said, I'm doing the big stuff. I'm not in the weeds. In other words, I'm not taking care of the small storylines. I'm taking care of the major ones because that's what I want. At least when I'm in the mood. That is what Vince is. So, as much as just Alex and JD says, well, Triple H is running Raw. Triple H is running SmackDown. No. He's not running anything. He's only allowed to run something when Vince allows him. Because that's what I feel like is going on right here. Vince is allowing, when he's in the mood, Triple H to run it the way he wants either show. Because when Vince isn't there, Triple H is doing it. When Vince is not in the mood to come in, he doesn't come in. He just calls in, and Triple H has to do exactly what Vince says. And even though Sean Ross Sapp and Jay Meltzer have said that Vince was not in the show, he doesn't need to be there anymore. He just got to call up or conference. There you go. End the story. Vince will get what he wants, even if he's not there. So what do I see for everybody here? Nothing good. We haven't heard who's going to be released yet. Vince is going to do a cut. There's no way he will not. I'm sure most of the people that have been here, or almost all of them, will be ejected. Jinder may not be, but Alan Shearer may go. Von Wagner, he may go. Zion Quinn, he may go. When it comes to Indy Hartwell, she'll probably stay, but she'll be in terrible storylines, especially once she recovers. She's going to be in the way. Do you actually think the way is going to work? When it comes to Gargano, and when it comes to Dexter Lumis, when it also comes to Candice LeRae, you actually think Vince is going to make it go the way it was back in NXT? No, he won't. The person I think is going to get screwed the most, and it's going to be two people. Two. You're going to be seeing someone screwed named J.D. McDonough, and you're going to see someone screwed named Grayson Waller. I just don't see Vince pushing them correctly. Grayson Waller may be able to adapt, and I do believe because he does like a Miz stick on SmackDown, he will be able to get away with it because he's taking a lot of aspects of the Miz that's modern compared to the Miz who is still stuck in the 2000s, who doesn't do anything like social media does right now. Because look what Grayson Waller's doing. He's streaming. Even if it's fake streaming, at least he admits he's streaming. And that's more better than what The Miz is doing. Because you can see whenever he does his Grayson Waller effect, you can see the difference in styles of the talk shows. Not saying talk shows are great, but at least when they are used correctly, they make sense. Promote storylines, help to get someone over, to make someone feel like a heel, make someone feel like a face. Those things will work when they're necessary. Now, JD McDonough, I don't think it's going to make it. I just do not see Vince treating JD McDonough, who's a very small wrestler, but a very dangerous wrestler. He reminds me of Pete Dunne. Now, he will probably go up against Pete Dunne if Pete was on Raw, but he's not. Unless he's going to be doing back and forth free agency, they'll never generally meet each other unless it was some type of special thing. Unless Vince gets rid of that and they're going to cross over anyway. But the key of this, do you actually believe JD McDonough, the Irish ace, is going to be treated like a real wrestler? This is Vince we're talking about. If he's interested in checking these people over, he's going to make JD McDonough, if he's not going to make him comedic relief, he's going to make him look like shit. And if he can't do anything with him, he'll leave them in the back. So as far as I see, there's a good chance that most of these people are going to be gone. If it's 16 or 17 people, I think it's about 16 people. Many of them will be gone. Many of them are going to be in the back. And they're going to probably ask for the release, or they're just going to be in hell. I don't trust Vince. And I don't blame Triple H for this. Triple H is, until Triple H breaks his contract, or lets his contract expire if it is in perpetuity, he should quit. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it 100%. Triple H should quit WWE, either retire from the wrestling business or just go somewhere else. Go to freaking AEW. I don't care. Go to Impact, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Start up his own company. Just start up his own company. Wherever. Just leave. Because Vince has a 2-year ironclad contract with Infinity. No, Discover. I believe it's Discover. And he has an ironclad contract for 2 straight years. There is no way he's leaving. And even like just Alex said, people should walk away. Do you actually think it'll work? Walking away? This is one thing nobody understands. Walking away will not change the company. They got too many people still in the company that they just replace everybody. And even if they replace them, they'll get another set. And you think people outside are going to understand or listen to the ones who left? They'll think, ooh, those idiots left, but I can make it work until they get on the roster and learn their lesson. And then either they just come complacent, compliant, or they get fired, or they ask for their release. That's the way it's going to be. But it's just me. And I hope you love this, or like this, or tolerate this NXT review. Leave a comment below. Peace.